AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. We're presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Today's show, we are live at Marucci's Hitter's House in Baton Rouge on Seagan near Airline. Come on by. We got tons of Marucci swag, 104.5 ESPN swag. Come hang out, take some hacks in the cage, shop at the store here. The official bat of Major League Baseball. We're in the warehouses just behind where we are. Every Marucci bat that Major Leaguers swing, they're made in the warehouse just behind us where you can always go take a tour. Awesome to come here to Marucci every single time we're here, and we hope you come hang out with us a little bit. Maybe you're driving in from work, picking up the kids from school, come pop in and say hello. Okay, first four is going on, but the madness begins in earnest tomorrow. That means it's probably among the busiest times of the year for Johnny Avello and our friends over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Johnny's good enough to hang out with us here. Haven't seen him since Super Bowl. Johnny, great to have you back, man. How are you?
Hey, Matt, doing well, thanks. Yeah, we've got a couple games under our belt, and that's what's nice about those Tuesday games and then Wednesday games to get you acclimated for the big tournament. So I kind of like those as that prelude leading in.
How busy is NCAA tournament for you all compared to the other major sporting events?
If you want to put it in the handle perspective, it's the largest. It overshadows the Super Bowl by maybe 3 times, maybe even more. And remember, it's a tournament with many games that takes place over 3 weeks, whereas the Super Bowl is a one-game event and taking place on a Sunday. So, people say, well, how could that be? Because Super Bowl's so big. Yeah, this is awful big too, especially these first 2 days, Thursday, Friday.
How does the handle compare the first 2 days? I don't know if you know this offhand, but the first 2 days maybe compared to the rest of the tournament cumulatively?
I can tell you that the first 2 days there's many more bets because there's many more games. Games go on from, I'm talking about West Coast time here where I am. They start at 9 in the morning and they go right through until after 9 at night. So just games that never stop. So you've got all the games themselves, the first halves, all the in-game wagering, all the totals, all the money lines, everything that is associated with these games for 2 straight days. Now, what happens the second round, getting to Saturday, Sunday, there's less games, but the money goes up. The amount bet on per game goes up, and that will continue all the way through till the end of the tournament. We get to the Elite Eight and the Final Four and the finals. It's the money's going to be bigger per game. So it's the way it is. It's more bets, less money per game, and then that increases as we move forward.
Johnny Avello's with us, DraftKings Sportsbook. Where's your biggest liability so far?
Talking about future book to win it all.
We could say that. Yeah, let's go that, and then we can talk about this opening weekend.
Okay. A team. Let's take a couple teams. Let's take Connecticut for instance. So Connecticut was on a pretty good run during the year, but they also had times where they didn't play well. And in the beginning of the year, they weren't playing that well. And we had them in that 30-1 range or so. And so they took quite a bit of money during that period. And now they're back at 25-1 also. Other teams that took money in the future book, St. John's, Miami, they were a huge number. They were one of our biggest liabilities. They can't get there, but people thought undefeated team. Maybe how far could they go, and we'll just ride them. Kansas was a big number, and Florida. Actually, Florida they're one of the 4, number 1 teams, and they are one of the shorter prices. I think they're 4th on our board right now. But during the year, remember, they kind of climbed the ladder to get to where they are now. It just, they were a higher price too at one point. Now, when you talk about individual games, a couple of favorites that were bet. They bet Illinois up from 20.5 all the way up to 24.5. They bet Houston up from 19.5 to 23.5. Duke 26.5 to 28.5. So there's a lot of teams that they took the point spread up high. Couple of dogs that they played, and this was early too. When we put these numbers up on Sunday, this one took early action and continued to take it, and still taking it today. It was Louisville, South Florida. They really the bettors like South Florida in this game. 7.5 was the opener. We're down to 4.5 now. South Florida's probably got about 85% of the money on them. And one thing I'll tell you, Matt, the number 1 seed, they are really pricey this year. I mean, those spreads are way up there, and the number 2 seeds, their spreads are way up there this year. And if you combine the two together, and I've been doing this a long time, I can tell you that it feels to me, and I didn't go back and check this, but it feels to me like those two are some of the higher spreads that I've combined that I've ever seen in this tournament. I've seen ones that were 30-point spreads, but have I seen the twos in the every game being in the mid-20s? I don't think so. So a lot of chalk out there this year.
Johnny Avello's with us, DraftKings Sportsbook. It's interesting you mentioned Louisville. Another one sort of with a personnel question is Bama with Aiden Holloway, his arrest. I don't know that we have a definitive answer. We know Nate Oates said they're preparing to play without him. Has that had any impact on the action?
Yeah, the game went one way, and then it came back another. So we opened the game 10.5 on Sunday, and it went all the way to 12.5. Now, of course, unsure what was going to happen there. And then it dropped all the way back down to 10.5. Now it's at 11.5. So it's been all over the place. The reaction on it coming down was, that they're not going to be as good without him. And so that was the reason for the move coming back down. And so now we're sitting at 11.5, and that's kind of a holding pattern right now. The total dropped quite a bit on that one because, Alabama certainly likes to light it up. And we opened 161.5 total points scored. Now we're down to 159.5.
Johnny, what's your doomsday? What's your worst case scenario in this tournament?
Let's see. I guess if Florida makes it to the Final Four, some outsiders like Connecticut make it to the Final Four. So, Connecticut and St. John's both can't get there. And Kansas is in that same region, too, so they can't get there. So, Florida and the Miami O makes it to the Final Four. I guess that would not be good. Anything else, we're going to be okay. I mean, the futures are going to continue to get bet. It's not like it's over, and we'll take more money in the future book. And in some cases, some of the teams we're in good shape with right now, we may not be in good shape by the time we get to the end of the tournament because people may continue to bet them, or we'll take a big bet, $1 million bet on something. So it's possible that, some of those teams that are going for us won't be going for us. But I'm just I'm happy to have the tournament starting again. It's a fun 3-week event. And like I said, this first Thursday and Friday are just absolutely amazing.
Johnny Avello, our partners over the DraftKings Sportsbook, have been great to us. We always appreciate the time. Hey, before you go, you mentioned some of the bigger lines. I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball here because we're in Baton Rouge, and I want to ask you about the LSU women. I'm looking at the number at DraftKings, 51.5 against Jacksonville. It's wild to see an NCAA tournament number that big. But Johnny, walk me through how we settle on 51.5, and is there actually action on a number that big?
Well, we do the women's all year long, so we're really familiar with all the teams. So we got a good handle on what the power rating should be. Now, you just kind of pick that game out, and that is a big spread, but there's some really monster spreads out there everywhere. Duke 31.5, Michigan 41.5, Oklahoma 34.5. I mean, there's a lot of 30s and big 20s out there on this tournament. That's the way the women's usually is, and we'll continue to see some of those big numbers even when we get into the second round, because you've got the upper elite and then you've got everybody else. And when I say upper elite, Connecticut's the favorite over the entire field at minus 285. So you'll never see that in a men's tournament where one team's going to be favored over everybody else at a minus. But in women's, it's a different animal. And you ask me if we take money on it? Yep, sure do. So some people will take a shot with the dog, and most will probably lay the chalk thinking that this is, they'll bury them.
Johnny, I'm probably going to abstain from that one. I'm just going to sit back and watch how Flage and the ladies do it. Hopefully they move on. But it's going to be a fun 3 weeks staring us here in the face. We appreciate our friends over the DraftKings Sportsbook. He's Johnny Avello. Always great to chat, Johnny. Thanks for the time, man. We'll visit soon.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Of course. It's our pleasure. It's After Further Review. We're here at Marucci's Hitter's House. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Hey, one thing I want to remind you really quickly. Friday is the last day to enter the $25K giveaway over at Parrish Construction Roofing. There is a Louisiana homeowner that is going to win $25,000 cash. Could be you. All you have to do is go to parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com, sign up for a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. That's all you got to do. We inspect your roof, whether you have damage or not, whether you need to file a claim or not, whether you need repair work, it doesn't matter. Sign up for a free no-obligation roofing inspection. You're entered to win $25,000 cash from Parrish Construction and Roofing. All the details are at the site, parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Friday at 5 p.m. Central is the deadline to enter. So go there right now, parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. All right, we're glad you're with us. Today's show is brought to you by Goodwood, Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com. Yes, they do ED treatments, but they also do HRT, massive part of their business, helping men live a fuller, more vital life, and peptides, lowest prices, never any contracts, yourgoodwood.com. We're not going to break. When we come back, busy first hour. I haven't yet gotten the opportunity to get into the LSU Grambling game from last night. I was there at the box. It was not a thing of beauty, but there were a few takeaways that I had that I want to dive into. We'll get to that as we continue. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Also, Tom Brady talking about playing in the Olympics. Team USA, a disappointing loss in the World Baseball Classic. We got a ton to do, and glad you're hanging out with us here from Marucci's Hitter's House. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by our friends over at River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Just if you're driving around Baton Rouge, I want you to just sort of pay attention when you're driving. Well, you should always pay attention when you're driving. But more specifically, when you're driving around town, I want you to notice the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. You can't miss them. They're everywhere. Because your friends and neighbors have trusted River City's 1 Hour Air, like I do, for more than 40 years now in the Baton Rouge area. Because they do exceptional work, they've got more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor. I love reading those 5-star Google reviews for you all the time because it's a great validation of what your friends and neighbors experience, like I do, when you call River City's 1 Hour Air. Got an issue with your AC? Not keeping up? Maybe it's time to replace that unit? River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001. Love telling you about our friends at River Parish Contractors. rpcontractors.com, rpcontractors.com. You know, one of the big points of differentiation for River Parish Contractors is that they work here. Their focus is here at home. Their facility is in Reserve. They service Chalmette to Baton Rouge, which means if you work for River Parish Contractors, you're at home at night for dinner. You're watching your kids' ball games. They're not interested in doing work in California or San Antonio or anywhere outside of here. And there are plenty of amazing mega contractors who do phenomenal work. But River Parish Contractors knows what their sweet spot is. It's that $15 million job. They know who they are, and they will give you exceptional service, always with exceptional safety. rpcontractors.com.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Man, it's always cool to come here to Marucci's Hitter's House. Actually, as we're about 20 minutes before the show started today, and we're getting set up, and Alondra was getting everything ready and connected, and the Oklahoma baseball team walked in. It was very cool because they're obviously here. They played Southeastern last night, got shut out 3-0 in Hammond. Line up. Anyway, so they had a day today before they play LSU tomorrow in the series. So they came over here to Marucci, and they did the facility tour, which is something anybody can do. You can always take the tour here, but how cool to be able to see. Like, I really think people maybe don't realize, like, when you watch a Major League Baseball game and you see a big leaguer swinging a Marucci bat, that bat, whichever one it is, whichever major leaguer, like that bat was made here at this facility on Segan Lane, right near Airline, in the warehouses behind us. You can go tour that facility. It's so cool. The Oklahoma baseball team did that earlier and popped in here to the retail portion and hung out for a little while. So Tigers and Sooners tomorrow, but Marucci Hitter's House where we are today. We're glad you're with us. Hittershouse.com, hittershouse.com, hittershouse.com. It was not a thing of beauty Tuesday night at the box. My first game of the year that I've gotten to go to the box. And, of course, it was 40 degrees and windy and just a pretty miserable night for offense. The conditions were not good and the product was not good. LSU managed just 7 hits against a team that had a staff ERA coming into the game last night north of 9. So 7 hits, not awesome. But here's what I did like. I like the fact that in a game where the weather was not conducive for offense, you did not perform well. There were a couple of times where LSU hitters put some good swings on balls. Again, in the 7th, both Curiel and Milam roped balls to right field right at the right fielder. So some of it's bad luck, just bad baseball luck. But for the most part, it was just a terrible offensive day. LSU left 11 runners on base. But on a day where the weather's bad, you're lethargic, you're not playing well, which happens in baseball, they still managed to score in 4 of the 8 innings that they had an at-bat and put up 7 runs on 7 hits. And in each of the innings that they scored, they did it in different ways. And primarily, it was about manufacturing runs. So in the 2nd, 4th, and 5th, they put up single runs. And yes, you'd love to see the crooked numbers, but in the 2nd, Aaron Beatty flies out, then Cerna doubles. I'm coming back to Cerna in a second, by the way. Then York singled, and Cerna didn't score. He went to 3rd. By the way, I loved that swing by York. It was not an excuse me swing. Wasn't even a defensive swing. It was okay, you put the ball right there. I'm going to flick the bat, and he just poked it left of the 3-hole into shallow right field and just kept the merry-go-round going. I need more of that from York, who, by the way, also walked 3 times last night. I'm tired of seeing York strike out and hit pop-ups. Like, hit singles and walk. Get on base. Anyway, we'll come back to him in a second, too. So you got 1st and 3rd with 1 out, and then Pearson's up, and he hits a ground ball to the right side, and it gets the run home. If there's a runner on 3rd and less than 2 outs, the hitter's job is to get that run home. You either hit a ground ball to the right side or you hit a fly ball to the outfield. That is your job. Get the run home from 3rd. Pearson did that. That is a team concept of offense in that moment. I love to see it. The 3-run homers, it's way more fun. But sometimes you need to just get the ground ball to the right side to get the run home from 3rd when you got to run on 3rd with less than 2 outs. Go to the 4th. In the 4th, Aaron Beatty leads off with a single. He gets erased when Cerna grounds into a fielder's choice. Then York walks on a 3-1 pitch. Again, 3-1 pitch. You know you're getting a fastball. It would be super easy to think, here, they're going to groove me one. I'm swinging out my shoes. I'm trying to hit a homer. Instead, he takes a walk. So you've got 1st and 2nd. Pearson gets on catcher's interference, so the bases are loaded for Eddie Yaman. Yaman gets a pinch hit there for Dardar. Again, less than 2 outs, runner on third. What is your job? Well, in this situation, the bases are loaded, so you have a force out at the plate. You want to get the ball in the air to the outfield to get that runner home. Yaman, sac fly. Cerna scores. Again, team baseball. Know what your job is when you step up to the plate. In both those situations, you saw that in this game. In both the first, the fourth, and then in the fifth, you manufactured a run a different way. Brown drew a full count walk to lead off the inning. Curiel strikes out. No worries. Brown steals second. Milam on a ground out advances Brown to third. So again, runner at third. Now with 2 outs, wild pitch, scores. You managed to generate offense in a lot of different ways. And the big inning came in the 8th, where you put up a 4 spot. Cerna hit a bomb to lead it off. Caraway, York walked again. Caraway singled. Anyway, but Stanfield had a 2 RBI single. Nice to see Stanfield continue to produce offensively. He was on base a couple of times in the ball game. So I like that on a day where they weren't super productive, it wasn't a great offensive day, they still managed to produce 7 runs and to do so in very different ways. And it was a team concept offensively. I love to see that. On the mound, I'm not so much concerned with what guys like Ricken and Dothy and Paz necessarily did. Now, I'm excited about Paz long term. I mean, you can see why that guy came here with so much fanfare. I mean, he looks like a defensive end pitching. He's upper 90s, and he is going to be awesome. And he may end up being awesome for this team by the end of the year. I don't think he's that yet, but you can just see how he just oozes ability. But for me now, I'm more interested in the pitchers that you know you're going to count on in SEC weekends pitching well situationally. So, for example, Cooper Williams. Cooper Williams, who got the win in the ballgame, went an inning in a third. So Cooper Williams has really struggled so far throughout parts of this season. He was awesome on Sunday, pitching the 9th and slamming the door to finish that game. Well, look at what happened on Tuesday against Grambling. It's a 1-1 ball game in the 4th. You're tied after Dothy comes in and gives up a run. You're tied at 1 in the 4th. Williams comes in with runners on base, strikeout on 4 pitches to get you out of the inning. He goes back out there and pitches the 5th, strikeout, ground out, strikeout. Up and down in order. He did not even face a 2-ball count. It was awesome. It was overwhelming what Cooper Williams did. And by the way, when you're 6'9" and you're mid-90s from the left side and you're facing Grambling, it should look like that. That's not to be disrespectful to Grambling. It's just to say they don't see dudes that are that size throwing that hard from the left side ever. So I loved to see that. Then, as you look ahead, Rizzi took the ball in the 6th. Now, if you're here and you've been with us throughout the parts of the season, my theory on Rizzi so far, and this is a guy that led LSU in appearances a year ago and is pitching some nice moments, but my theory on Rizzi is that when he enters the game clean, he has been really good. Like, start an inning, nobody on base, he's out of the windup, not high pressure leverage, he's been good. Where Rizzi has struggled is when he comes in mid-inning, high leverage situation, runners on base, and he's got to make pitches. That's where Rizzi has struggled this year. Look at what happened last night. He goes in to start the 6th. He gets a fly out, gives up a single. That single, though, was might as well have been hit with a wiffle ball bat. I mean, the ball barely made it into left field. And then he gets a ground ball double play. So faces the minimum. Goes out there for the 7th and strikes out the side in the 7th. I thought Rizzi was awesome. That's what I want to see from Williams and Rizzi, because those are two guys, when Jay Johnson talks about last week he talked about the 4 guys out of the bullpen that he trusts. Sheeran and Guidry, no doubt, are 2 of them. I think the other 2 he was talking about were Williams and Rizzi, although they haven't pitched like it this year. I think Cowan last year showed what he's capable of, and certainly on Friday sort of reiterated that, which was awesome to see. And I really like Santiago Garcia as a situation lefty. He's the anti-Rizzi in the situation that I just said. You need a lefty to come in with runners on base in a tight situation and deliver and make the pitch. I think Garcia is that guy. But you need Rizzi and Williams because their ceilings are so high to be more consistent. And I'm not saying change the intimidator because LSU made some plays against Grambling on a Tuesday night in front of 6 people. I was one of them. But what I'm saying is I'd rather have those moments in those situations than have them not deliver in those situations because it's something you use to build on going into this weekend. So I get it. Last night was you would love to have seen LSU run rule Grambling and it never be in doubt. Sometimes, though, when you're playing an opponent in another uniform and they're keeping score and it's an actual game situation and you're faced with a situation, that's when you can learn and grow and develop in those moments to say, okay, who can I count on in these moments? And you were able to deliver both offensively and on the mound in the ball game last night. Now, if LSU's catchers could stop throwing the ball in runners' backs after they bunt, first friggin' batter of the game. That's Cerna chucking a ball into the runner's back going up the line. I swear, man. Like, I watched my nephew's, 9U team not screw that up. Step toward the field, take an angle, and make an accurate throw. What are we doing with this? Anyway, if you need to work on it, come here to Marucci Hitter's house. I mean, they actually have batting cages. That's not a great opportunity to work on that, but you get my point. All right, Tigers get a win. Tomorrow, LSU, Oklahoma, Thursday, Friday, Saturday series for the Tigers and the Sooners. Sooners in the top 10, man. We'll preview that series in Game 1 on tomorrow's show. Looking forward to that. Cam Johnson will be on the bump. The former Tiger Cam Johnson will be on the bump for OU. Had a really good start to the season in the 4 pre-conference weeks. Then last week against Texas A&M, he reverted to the Cam Johnson he was the first 2 years of his career. He didn't make it out of the 3rd inning, and he walked 7. So like we were just talking about with Rizzi, I think that's sort of the book on Cam Johnson. We'll talk about it more tomorrow, but the book is he's, when he was thrown in front of 50 people at IMG Academy, really good. You put him on the bump at Alec Box Stadium in front of 11,000, and he's throwing the ball to the backstop. In the pre-conference, he was really good. You got in a conference play against A&M, he reverted to what he was. I have a sneaking suspicion that Cam Johnson may revert to what he was as a freshman when he's standing on the bump at the box with 10,000 people going bonkers on Thursday evening. So we'll see. All right, it's after further review. Hey, we're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. And you can always go to williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com. Dr. Blake Williamson is the best. 10 out of 10 recommend. He did my LASIK almost 8 years ago now. Still seeing better than 2020. My only regret is that I didn't do it 10 years sooner. No matter your age or your refractive issue, if you want to get rid of contacts and glasses forever, call the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020. Go for that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson. Learn what your options are and how you can change your life. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. Okay, y'all, it's after further review, trucking along. We're halfway home here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. We usually do Tigers and the Pros in 15 minutes from right now. We'll come back. Team USA, disappointing, loses the championship game of the World Baseball Classic to Venezuela. Tom Brady says he probably won't play in the Olympics. Interesting that he was even considering that. Might get to that just a little bit. And LSU, as we talked about in the open of the show, will reset, has a new football staff member. It's a name you know. We'll get to all that here as we roll along. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here on Hump Day edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
You know, you buy everything online, right? Unless if you come to Marucci and buy bats and gloves and all that stuff here. But we buy a lot of things online. Buy groceries online. Sometimes we buy clothes online. Why not buy your pool online? You can do that. Duplessis Builders makes that a reality. Check out their website, duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. Derek Duplessis and the team, they've developed an awesome website. Now, you can do any type of custom pool you want. You want a big, giant, beautiful resort-style pool. They can do anything as grand, scale, palatial as you want. At the website, however, they also have, you go to the homepage, there's a button on the homepage that says, pick your pool. There's 11 different pool designs. Pick which one you want. Choose all your finishes, tiling, coping, water features, lights, all. Pick it all right there. Boom. You can even pay for it right there on the website. DuplessisBuilders.net. Check them out online, DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
I mean, surprised because of the names on the back of the jersey, right? But not surprised because of where they're at in spring training. Yeah, that's my answer. I really don't have a rhyme or reason to why. I just think you're either hot or not in a 7-game blast like this.
That was Mark DeRosa, Team USA manager of the World Baseball Classic, on while the offense didn't produce more. The United States loses the World Baseball Classic final to Venezuela 3-2. But I don't think that necessarily is going to be the lasting impact of this World Baseball Classic. It may be. We'll see. Team USA competed in the championship in the final for the third consecutive World Baseball Classic. In 2017, the U.S. beat Puerto Rico. In 2023, remember there was no World Baseball Classic with COVID. In 2023, Japan defeated the U.S. And then this year, obviously, Venezuela beat the U.S. So the U.S. has been in 3 straight World Baseball Classic finals, but candidly, I don't remember any of them. I've never had a great interest in the World Baseball Classic. I think part of it is the best players haven't always been willing or desired to play because of when it falls in the calendar while these guys are in spring training. But you've had this moment now where Paul Skeens and Skubal and Judge and some of the best players in the world in the United States made it a priority to go play. And that attracted a large number and a larger viewership. And I kind of look at it almost like, I'm going to use this example very loosely, okay? But like the Dream Team in '92 elevated forever our awareness of Olympic basketball because the pros played. Now, obviously, that's different. That's the greatest assembly of basketball talent in the history of the world. But it's a similar effect. I would say the World Cup in 2010 was really a seminal moment in this country for soccer. And maybe for the World Baseball Classic as an event, this might turn out to be that for this event, as people collectively in this nation may start to care more about it, which candidly they just haven't. And like that's evidenced by the interest in the viewership. The semifinal, the 2-1 Team USA win over the Dominican Republic Sunday, drew an audience of 7.369 million viewers on FS1. Not Fox. It was FS1. And by the way, that was opposite the Oscars. Now, I'm not saying people watching the World Baseball Classic is the same audience as the Oscars, but what I am saying is the Oscars, aside from the NFL, is always the most viewed television event of the year because it's one of the only live television events that people actually make appointment viewing aside from sports. So you draw 7.5 million people on FS1, yes, you have my attention. Because now you can start to cater a broadcast schedule to be more conducive to the audience. Like we've seen college football do with their national championship game on a Monday night. Why? Because Monday night generally is one of the most viewed television nights of the week traditionally. So it's why they put the championship game on a Monday night. Viewership peaked at 8.17 million there in the final inning of the game. So any event, it was, I think, could end up being a tipping point moment for this event. Time will tell, and we'll see what it looks like in 3 years. But that's something else Mark DeRosa said after the game, was if he thought this was this World Baseball Classic will make more guys want to play because of the intensity, the competitiveness, and the interest.
I think every position player wants to play in it. I think from a pitching standpoint, everybody's at different stages in their career, and it's kind of you got to get buy-in from the team, you got to get buy-in from the player, you got to get buy-in from the agent. I think there's a lot that goes into it from a pitching standpoint to kind of, because they're not, they're building up to get ready, ramping up for a season. So I think everybody in their heart to a man wants to do it. It's just what's the timing of where they are at in their career.
We'll talk about it again 3 years from now, but it was great theater, and Venezuela beats the United States in the championship. Hey, we're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com. Co-worker Chris Marler and his fiancee, Allie, they went over to South Point last night, as a matter of fact, and today picked up their brand new Atlas Cross Sport. Yes, Chris basically wants to be me because I drive a Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport. That's okay. That's okay. Look, Alondra, don't you laugh. I'm someone worth emulating, am I not? All right, maybe it's just because, the Atlas Cross Sport is pretty awesome. I've told you about it before. It's the style, feel, performance of luxury without the cost, all the safety features, and it's a pretty awesome vehicle. And South Point has the best selection because they're Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. So I sent Chris over to chat with Mr. Bill. Brad, who's the business manager, they took great care of him. Bought it yesterday, picked it up today, and they're just they're awesome throughout the whole process. So if you're in the market for a vehicle, put Volkswagen on your list. Maybe you're looking to buy pre-owned. Great. They've got an awesome pre-owned selection as well. People buy a new car, they trade in their old car. That means South Point's got a great certified pre-owned selection. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, ladies, after further review, we're glad to have you hanging out with us here. If you missed it, by the way, LSU has hired T. Martin to join the staff as an offensive analyst. It was interesting because T. Martin was on a New York nightcap at the end of January. Remember, so he spent the last 5 years with the Baltimore Ravens, and the last 3 of which as the quarterback's coach with Lamar Jackson. Well, John Harbaugh gets fired. He's now with the Giants. Jesse Minter, the new coach, did not retain T. Martin, so he kind of been a free agent. He was a coaching free agent. Lane Kiffin had hired T. Martin at Southern Cal back in 2012. So they had a prior working relationship, and now Lane has hired T. Martin as an offensive analyst joining the LSU staff. But this is what T. Martin said back at the end of January on New York Nightcap about what his future was.
Yes, you're kind of in that in-between phase where you're on the staff, you made changes to the head coach position, just hired a new head coach, hours ago. And so just kind of sitting by the phone waiting to hear from either side. Have a great relationship here with Lamar and the guys who were here to put this together, had some success over the years. So we'll see if it's an opportunity to stay here or not. And if not, I'll be like other coaches in this time. We'll be looking for jobs and opportunities in the next place.
That next place is back in college in Baton Rouge at LSU. T. Martin joining LSU as an offensive analyst. Football Scoop had it first. Actually, I'm not sure. Forgive me. I'm not sure if it was Football Scoop that had it first. I want to make sure I properly attribute. I apologize if I do have that wrong. I want to give proper attribution. But see, I want to get it so I have proper attribution on who had it first. But I love adding T. Martin to the staff. He's a guy with a tremendous amount of experience at the NFL level, at the major college level, at Southern Cal and Tennessee, Kentucky, even at the lower college level. So love adding him to staff. What's going to be interesting is what role he actually fills on staff, because LSU has co-offensive coordinators. They have 3 different coaches working with quarterbacks. They've already got 3 different coaches working with receivers. So what is that role going to be? It was Jordan Schultz, by the way. Jordan Schultz had the news first. So hat tip to Jordan Schultz, Schultz Report, who was the first to break the news about T. Martin. So we'll see what T. Martin's role is, but he's joining the LSU staff. Okay. It's AFR. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 2. We're at Marucci Hitter's house. Y'all come on by, man. Take some hacks in the cage. Remember, if you join as a member, you get a key card. So you get 24/7 access to the batting cages, your own bullpens if you want to go throw some bullpen sessions. Awesome place here at Seagan near Airline. You'll see the 104.5 ESPN truck out front. Come on in. We've got hats and T-shirts and swag, and Maruccio always gives us cool swag. That's some awesome arm sleeves here. So come hang out with us here. If you're driving home, get some free swag, shop a little bit, take some hacks in the cage. It's Marucci's Hitter's House on Seagan. We'll knock out a quick break and wrap up hour number 2 next. Stick around here. It's AFR.
AFR.
It's rolling along here. Always love telling you about Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Agent225.com, agent225.com, agent225.com. Go to the website. Even if nothing else, this is a really cool tool to be able to use. So it's the home value tool at Darren's website. I've told you about it before. Grab your phone if you're interested, if you've never done this, or if you're at a computer. If not, grab your phone. Go to agent225.com, agent225.com. If you're on mobile, just scroll down. You'll see where it says home value. There's a line. Just type in your address. Just type in your address, hit enter, and it will populate local market data and give you an estimate of what your home is worth today. Not using some national algorithm, using local market data to give you an accurate representation of what your home is worth today. It's the home value tool online. Do it now. It's agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. We are here at Marucci's Hitter's House on Seagan near Airline in Baton Rouge. Remember, the madness in earnest begins tomorrow. Fill out your bracket. I mean, you're going to fill out a bracket anyway. If you're going to be participating in everybody else's bracket challenge, you might as well participate in ours. Winner's going to get $1,000 cash. So take 5 seconds and go fill out a bracket. Go to louisianasports.net, hit the contest page. I actually think it's on the homepage, isn't it? louisianasports.net, the bracket challenge. Yeah, so if you go to louisianasports.net, it's on 1045ESPN.com as well. But if you go to louisianasports.net, there's the link on the homepage. You'll see the bracket. I think it says bracket. What's it say? The Big Dance Bracket Bash. I did not come up with that. Maybe that's the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge promotions director that came up with that. The big, Lodger said nope. The Big Dance Bracket Bash. Anyway, $1,000 cash. Someone's winning $1,000 cash. You're going to fill out a bracket? Fill out ours. Maybe you win $1,000. Just go to louisianasports.net. You'll see it right there on the homepage to link to it, or at 1045ESPN.com. Good luck. Otter will be here next hour. Mama Scone is here next hour. Talk about her picks as she and I will go head-to-head. And Johnny Avello was here about 45 minutes ago from DraftKings Sportsbook. Jimmy's picks are going to be there. I think Marler and Hester are going to bring back pick and roll. That's what they called it last year, was their picks. So we're going to have tons of March Madness picks over at louisianasports.net. Okay, let's do this. Muse, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we'll start with some news from NFL free agency. Austin Deculus has reached an agreement on Tuesday evening with the Tennessee Titans. Adam Schefter was the first to report that. Deculus, 27 years old, spent the last season with the Los Angeles Chargers, appeared in 13 games. That was a career high. Also started 5 games for LA. Of course, they dealt with a lot of injuries across that line a year ago, but did set a career high as well in offensive snaps played. A former 6th-round pick of the Texans in 2022. Played 13 games over the course of 3 seasons with his hometown club, but now will play with the Titans. World Baseball Classic, Alex Bregman wore the collar 0 for 3. He was part of that struggling offense for Team USA hit just 143 over the course of the 7-game tournament. Of course, Team USA fell 3-2 to Venezuela in the final. Some NBA here. Naz Reid, 18 minutes off the bench, 11 points, 5 assists, and 3 boards. Also blocked 4 shots. Did Naz plus 10, and the Timberwolves got a big win over the Phoenix Suns. And then lastly, Trendon Watford, 22 minutes off the bench for the Sixers, 12 points, 6 assists, 3 boards. He blocked 3 shots. Former Tigers are just swatting the ball last night in the association. Sixers fell to the Nuggets. That's Tigers and the Pros.
Presented by Evamore, E-V-A-M-O-R, evamore.com. I kind of screwed up. I have a big old 64-ounce bottle of Evamore. You'll see it if you watch with us here on YouTube or on WBTR. You see my big 64-ounce bottle of Evamore I have on the set every day. I left it on my desk at Guarantee on my way over here to Marucci. So that's on me. I screwed up. However, the good news is when I leave here and go home, go into the fridge, and I've got just lines and lines and rows of the 20-ounce bottles at home. So I got some catching up to do, but drink Evamore, E-V-A-M-O-R, natural artesian water, healthier product, healthier alternative. Use it, buy it, support a great local company, give your family a healthier option, better hydration for high-performance athletes. Stay hydrated, drink Evamore, E-V-A-M-O-R, evamore.com, evamore.com, evamore.com. All right, y'all, we are staring hour 3 in the face. If you missed it, Tyler Shuck gave an exclusive interview to Hester and Flynn on Off the Bench earlier today. Few of the high points of what he had to say, we will dive into that. I do want to explore one lineup change that I think Jay Johnson should consider making. We'll get to that in hour number 3 next.
AFR.
Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Hey, how about crawfish tonight? I think sometimes we need a reminder that, you don't get crawfish all year. Boiled crawfish. I'm not talking about crawfish tails. I mean, boiled crawfish. So when you have the opportunity, yes, look, Fridays in Lent are a great opportunity to go score some. But any day, really, don't wait for the weekend or a Friday in Lent. Just go because it's a day that ends in Y and you feel like eating crawfish. So go to Rouse's. There's 76 Rouse's locations, and they boil crawfish at all 76 Rouse's locations in-house every day. So they have their own in-house boiling rooms. Shout out to my guy Cliff in Central at the Rouse's. He boils crawfish at the Central Rouse's every day. So Rouse's.com, find the location nearest you. Go get you some crawfish at Rouse's. This feels like home.